at the JNF Indoor Playground in Stay Road. I want to thank everybody. Moshe Gefen is with us. Moshe Gefen is an Ole from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a firefighter in Ashkelon, Israel. Many of you are familiar with the practice of donating equipment and donating funds for equipment for different Israeli rescue services, and we're very good at that in many areas. But sometimes in this area, we need to address the issue of aging fleets of trucks and inadequate equipment, which makes the firefighters' job even more difficult here in Israel. Many of you are not aware of the fact that the equipment has to be state-of-the-art and up-to-date, and all donations, of course, are welcome for that effort. Moshe Gefen, welcome to JM in the AM.
Thank you for having me here.
Nice to speak
Welcome
with you.
to Sderot.
I appreciate that. Are you familiar with how much snow there was in Boston this winter?
I've heard about it. I spoke to my family there, heard what went on in New York.
Ashkelon had more snow than Boston or less snow than Boston?
I say thank you. I live in Israel. I hate snow. It is too cold for me. It is not for us firefighters.
But
no.
you didn't answer my question. Was there even a centimeter of snow in Ashkelon this winter?
Yes.
There was?
I work usually in Kiryat Gat. In Ashkelon I worked and we had major winds there, a little bit of snow.
Oh.
I wouldn't even give it an inch, but it was cold. It was cold, and we went flying off, blowing off of buildings. We couldn't use our crane, but we worked hard those couple of days.
Yes. Well, in Boston it was a few months. Anyway, thank goodness it's melting everywhere at this point. This is one of the, and I say it this way because I hope this is not taken the wrong way. When it comes to certain types of emergency equipment, it seems that World Jury is very good at providing it and funding it for Israel. But when it comes to other types, sometimes it's forgotten. And when it comes, I believe, to fire equipment, firefighting equipment, sometimes we're a bit neglectful and we don't realize how it has to be kept up to date and state of the art.
It has to be at the top of the line. I'll give you an example. Right after the Carmel fire, the JNF asked if I could fly to the States since I speak a good English. And help raise monies for the fire department. I came back to Israel and helped arranging a couple of trucks. And we're not talking about the small pumpers, we're talking about large, regular American pumper trucks. And one of the trucks came to a city I was working in at the time, Kiryat Malachi. Now, part of the new equipment that came in, now that's something that's standard in all trucks in Israel, is part of our breathing unit, we have a mask. We have our own personal mask, and we have one for the person we have to rescue. Right. Something that we didn't have too many in Israel.
Basic equipment, for instance, in the U.S.
Exactly.
Right.
And a week after this truck came in, the truck was donated by Dr. Viterbi from California. A week after the truck came in, my friend had a fire. Now, we're not only short on equipment, we're also short on manpower. Right. At the time, the city of Sderot, or the city of Kiryat Malachi, there were 2 firefighters on shift. Try and imagine a fire, a 4-story building, and you're 2 firefighters. You got to do all the jobs that in the States now with the fire of the Sasson family. Let me just tell you, we heard about it Motzei Shabbos, and there was nothing else but all firefighters were at the screen looking at pictures that were on YouTube and on the different broadcast.
The news channels.
The news channels. And the thing that's going through our head is that little prayer that goes through every firefighter's head when he goes into a burning house. It's nothing to do with his safety. I have on the inside of my helmet, I was thinking the whole time, what can I put in there? And one of the things I put inside is Ana Hashem Atzlichana. That's what goes through every firefighter's head is, if there's someone trapped in there, let me get to him faster, let me get him out fast. And I can only imagine what those firefighters went through. But on that fire there were, the Israeli media said there were 100 firefighters working. Right. The same type of fire, first 20 minutes would be 2 to 3 firefighters in Israel. Right. And go back to what happened with the Viterbi truck. A week after the truck came in, we are learning still the equipment. It's a touchscreen pump in the back. All right, all high tech, and we're learning
different than what you were used to.
Exactly. I'll soon get to the truck we used to have beforehand. And they go in and they rescued 3 children and 4 adults. There was a fire in one of the electric boxes in the building, and the thick smoke went up. The firefighters didn't see a thing. But because that they had these masks, they got to rescue the kids. Right. Now, they said they went into the apartment. The apartment is just as full of smoke as anything else. Now, there's 2 firefighters. They're running up and down the steps. They did not take out a drop of water until they got everyone out. And at that point, they had already changed their air balloons. They saved because of the new equipment. This is I'm talking about right away. Within a week, you're already saving people, and this is the truck I know about. I can't tell you about all the rest of the trucks, but you can imagine.
And all over Israel, obviously, these are needed.
Yes. It's equipment that's the top of the line. If it's, for example, one of the women working for JNF is Yael. She arranged donations for equipment for volunteers, for teenage volunteers. And these volunteers turn later on into firefighters. The station I'm working right now, there are 2 firefighters who used to be volunteers before.
Well, where are you based?
I'm based in Kiryat Gat, but I belong to the Ashkelon region, which means...
You could be anywhere if something happens.
Sderot is one place they always send me during battle. All right, all operations. I was based in this city here. The excuse I give my officers is I have the experience from Gush Katif. I was bombed there. Let me keep on being bombed here. My wife doesn't agree with that, but
they accept your strategy.
They're always looking for someone to volunteer for something stupid. No, I'm kidding. But most firefighters will be always on the first line doing these things. Just that most live in Ashkelon and they want to be close to their families if something happens there.
So if you did this in the United States, it's obvious that our listeners or anybody who's in the U.S. or anywhere around the world could do the same thing. I mean, you're essentially raising money to keep the equipment in every firehouse in Israel as advanced as possible. Simple as that. And if someone wants to donate for that purpose...
Let me tell you about... I told you before, I'll tell you about the truck I used to have before this Viterbi truck.
What was that like?
It was a Mercedes, first of all.
We used to see it in silent movies, maybe?
Oh, close. First of all, it was a Mercedes, just from the year of 83, 84.
More advanced than I thought.
Yeah. Let me just ask you a quick question. What type of car do you drive?
I drive a Honda Odyssey.
Horsepower?
Oh, I have no idea.
Over 130?
I have no clue.
All right. More than 130, because usually, for example, all the electric cars...
Hang on a moment. ZK? Over 130? It's got to be, right? Yeah.
All right. This truck had 130 horsepower.
It was acting like a regular car.
And it's supposed to drive 3 tons of water, not including equipment.
And men.
And what men? We remember 2 firefighters.
2 firefighters.
Okay. The joke about it is that it had air conditioning system. It was called a 2x44, 45. 2 windows, 45 miles per hour. Okay? This was a truck we had to drive. You're laughing, but now try and think about it running into a car accident, and everyone is passing us.
Course.
All right? We were ashamed to turn on a siren.
Hitch a ride.
We'd get there faster. Okay? These new trucks save lives on a daily basis. All right? During the operations here in Israel, if it was a Tzukeitan Ofer Tetzuka, excuse me for translating that to English. There's a limit how good my English is.
It's fine. What did we have? Cast lead and what do we call the most recent one?
What was the other one?
I forgot already. What was this past summer?
I like the missile, the rocket system. The Iron Yarmulke.
And Protective Edge.
Protective Edge, they called it? All right. No. I like more the name of the Kippat Barzel, Iron Yarmulke.
That was a good one, yeah. That was a good one.
And also, here in Sderot, the 2 trucks that are here are JNF trucks. And they run from call to call, saving lives, again, because of the top-of-the-line equipment that is on them. It's like equipment that before they could only dream of. In a way, one of the times I flew to the States, the first time I flew with Ariel Cutler, and he arranged for me a couple hours in the Rescue 2 teams of FDNY.
Oh, in New York?
Yeah. Oh, those guys they're amazing. They're amazing. Swear like sailors, but they're great people.
Right.
And I see the equipment they're using, and comparing it to what I have now, that's good stuff. Right. But again, not all trucks are that way.
Right.
All right, we're still some of the newer trucks have the new equipment. The older trucks, we're still stuck a century behind. All right, when it comes to ladders, every ladder they're very expensive, and buildings, the prices of apartments in Israel isn't cheap, so everyone builds high. Kiryat Gat, for example, we have 5 buildings with 14 floors, and we don't have a ladder in the building. All right, which means we all have to keep in shape running up steps. But now this is full gear, and you have to hope the elevator works.
You know what one of the problems is with the PR in this area is that Americans or other people around the world never look to Israel as a big firefighting place. whether it's the stone of Jerusalem or whether, the way buildings are built here, or the impression that, firefighters are in their firehouse and barely ever have to come out, they could sleep in their pajamas, that type of thing. That's always been the impression here. And you're telling us this is not true at all. It's exactly the opposite.
Firefighters in Israel, first of all, you have to remember that 80% of people that are injured in fires is from smoke.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if your house is made of stone or wood.
Right.
The first respond has to be to smoke.
And you got to save the person's life.
And you have to save the person's life. 2 weeks ago, I had a fire in Kiryat Gat. Same story like with the Firetrucks truck. Just that my partner that was with me did not have the mask on his breathing unit.
Right.
And he did something that some would call stupid, some would call brave. And he took off his mask and gave it to
save the person,
the adult that was running down with him the steps. All right, he's back to work, thank God. All right, but on one hand, you have the parents, the person that he saved, giving him big hug and thanking him, and then you have the officers, which are right. What did you do?
Right.
You risked yourself here. Okay, I was running up and down the steps, and I see that we lost one manpower off the manpower. Remember how many people I told you we are on shift?
Mm-hmm.
We were 3 people on shift that night. Okay, so it's also manpower, it's equipment, but we're working our best to do better.
Moshe Gefen, he's from Boston, Massachusetts, a firefighter in Ashkelon, Kiryat Gat, Sderot, and many other areas of this area of Israel, in this neighborhood of Israel. It's interesting that we're having this conversation just after the news that you spoke about, which really affected the collective Jewish heart around the world, this Sassoon tragedy, and maybe, who knows, maybe there's somebody out there who would actually dedicate fighting equipment to their memory to Israel. Would be an amazing... And they used to live in Israel, by the way. The Sassoon family is from Israel.
Yes.
And that would be quite a gesture.
If you don't mind, I just want to add something quick. While I was in the States, one of the things I told people there, I would end my spiel with last couple of words of saying, usually when someone comes to you with a business offer, he's offering you give X amount, you get X amount. I said, exactly. Right. I was also offering an investment, but just that mine, they don't see a dime back. But they are part of us in saving lives. When we go into the fire, it's with their equipment. It's with equipment that they help us use. And by us having that equipment, we could save more lives. And I would really want to thank from here everyone that helped us until now.
You just described why it's such a good investment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We earn.
And you want people to keep investing.
Yes. You know what? No. I want all the credit for myself. I'm telling you straight out, I want all the credit for myself. But since it won't happen without help, so yes, I have to ask for partners. And the people of JNF are just amazing. If it's from Russell that gives you the best feeling in the world and helps you out any way possible, if it's Ariel that it was always there, and Yael, Alon from Israel also, all these people from JNF do an amazing job helping out not only the firefighters but everyone else. And I want to thank them from here.
And we thank them as well. Kol hakavod to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Pleasure meeting you.
Moshe Gefen, everybody. He's a firefighter in this region of Israel and has great praise for the JNF, and as you heard, for very good reason. Watch our video right now live at NachumSegal.com. We continue with more from Israel right here on a Monday at JM in the AM.